Not everything that can be cooked in a kitchen, obviously, can fit neatly into the category of these minute meals. However, once you get going with one of these impulse heat sealers, you start finding ways of cutting corners, of saving yourself some time later on. If you can reduce, say, the cooking time from 2 to 3 hours on a meal down to, say, 20 to 30 minutes, that's a big improvement. And you can do that in some cases. For example, later today for a celebration, I'm going to be making one of my devastatingly delicious pizzas, but not in the video. For that, I need caramelized onion, because I like to use caramelized onion in my pizza. If you're not familiar with caramelized onion, you cook it, and you cook it, and you cook it, and you cook it. Slow cooking the onion until it starts to reduce down and takes on this caramelized color. You're not browning it like over a high heat. You slowly cook it till you caramelize it all the way through. That concentrates the flavors, concentrates the sugars. You get a very different flavor, and it's delicious in some meals. I used to go to the warehouse store, Costco, and buy the big bag of onion. I still do it once in a while. It's like 10 pounds of onion, 10 onions in there, a pound each. They're big. I would peel all the onions, chop them all down, get 2 large skillets going on my stove, and I would spend 2 to 3 hours caramelizing all those onions. And then I would portion them down into little packets of about a half an onion per packet, put those in the freezer, and then whenever I needed caramelized onion, rather than spending a long time cooking, I just go to the freezer, take out a packet of caramelized onion, job done. It's that simple. So what I want to show you first is how to do caramelized onion, how I put that away, and then I'm going to show you some other convenience foods. I call these convenience ingredients. I'm going to show you some other things that I do that can make it a little bit easier as far as getting food on the table. So let's start with caramelized onion. I have 2 large onions here that I've already peeled. I only need about half of one of these for my onion, but I'm going to caramelize both of them, because if I'm going to do the work, I might as well do a lot of them, and then I don't have to do it later on. What I want to do is I'm kind of cutting these in such a way that I'm going to end up with kind of long pieces of onion, because I think that works better in my pizza. This is one way of doing it. Cut the root end off, and then when I separate these, I have these longish pieces of onion. Another way of doing that is take advantage of the rings going in the other direction and cut it this way. Either way, you're going to end up with long pieces of onion. Okay, so I have my onions to slice up, and then I'll be ready to start frying. I got a skillet here heating on the stove. I'm going to put some cooking oil in there. That's vegetable oil. You can use olive oil if you'd like. I'm going to put my onions in there. And I'm going to cook these over medium-high heat to start. And what is going to happen is this is going to give off a lot of moisture, and it'll practically be boiling in their own moisture, but all that moisture will cook off. My onions are cooking away now merrily. They've been cooking for about 15 minutes, and they still have a long ways to go. So while I'm waiting for my onions to cook, I'm going to talk about another convenience ingredient that I make in my kitchen. I call this my cheater sauce. Now, I've used marinara sauce in various dishes. I might make ravioli. I make all my own pasta, usually from scratch. And I've served it to guests, and they say, ooh, this sauce is good. You make your own sauce, don't you? And I tell them, yeah, I put it together myself. I don't tell them what I really do. This is our secret, right? Okay, this is Classico. This is tomato and basil. I find that this has too strong of an herbal flavor to it. I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit next on the onions. And this is Prego. This is too sweet. It's got too much sugar in it. But if I put these two together in roughly equal portions, I end up with a sauce that tastes really good, like homemade. And then I store it in the freezer. Let me show you that. I usually buy Classico in the 3-pack, 3 jars. at the warehouse store at Costco. I'm going to put that in there and then take my Prego out. Fill my jar again and put that in there. That is my cheater sauce. Mix that up. Now, how do you store this? Well, I only have one empty jar here, and this jar is only about a third empty. So I don't have the storage space. And besides which, if you try to put this in a jar in the refrigerator, or several jars, they're going to get moldy after a while. So this isn't the best way. Let me show you how I put these up. Okay, I've got a little plastic packet here that I set up. I usually put this inside of a container to hold it while I put the liquid in. I showed you that when I did the soups. Another thing you can do is make yourself a wide mouth funnel. This is the top of a spaghetti sauce jar, one of those Prego sauce jars. And that'll hold, I put it in there and hold it in there with my finger holding the plastic to the neck of the funnel. I know these are about a half a cup of each. This ladle. Okay. So that gives me 1 cup portions of sauce, which are okay. You can do larger portions if you want them. And then to get out most of the air, I'm going to bring it up against the impulse heat sealer. Seal it. I'm going to trim this excess off. And there is a packet of my sauce. I have a little plastic tray here. I can get a half dozen of these in the tray, put them in a freezer, and then when they're done, put these in a Ziploc bag or just leave them in the tray. And I have my cheater sauce already prepared, ready to go in the freezer. I just simply have to pull it out and thaw it, either in warm water or I can thaw it in the microwave oven. So there is my sauce. I got 4 packets out of that particular sauce. They're about 1 cup each. I have enough sauce to make another 8 of these packets. This doesn't save me a lot of time as far as preparation work. However, if I were to put all that sauce back in jars and try to store it in the refrigerator, as I said, it would get moldy. This way I can put this in the freezer. These will keep for months, and I just can take out a packet or 2 whenever I need it. So there are my onions now. After cooking for 50 minutes, 50, you can see how dark they are. Those are nicely caramelized. If I taste those, they have a nice sweet flavor. They don't taste like cooked onions, and especially not like raw onions. I turned off my heat. I'm letting my pan cool down here a little bit. Then I'm going to portion these, and I'll seal these in those little packets. My pan has cooled down enough, and you can see how much that's all been reduced down. This is those same 2 onions, but remember this pan was pretty near half full of raw onion before, and now it's all cooked down. That's because all the moisture has cooked out. And as you cook this, as the moisture cooks down, you keep reducing your heat so that toward the end, my onion was cooking at the lowest heat. I'm dividing this into 4 equal parts like that because I know that each of those is half of one of those onions. I'm going to take out one of these and set it in a bowl because, as I said, I'm going to be making pizza, and this will go on top of my pizza. And then I have my packets for sealing. Just put my onion in there like that. Wonderful. Gonna kind of smush that down a little bit to get air out. again, trim it. And there it is. That's half of an onion, caramelized, ready to go into the freezer. And look how small that is. And that takes hardly any room at all in the freezer. So there I have shown you some ways that you can use this impulse heat sealer and polytubing to save yourself a lot of effort when cooking. If you're going to do something that involves a lot of work and a lot of time, then make whatever that is in bulk. Make a lot of it and then put it in the freezer, portion it down, put it in the freezer so that the next time you need that ingredient, it's already there. It's ready to use. I've done it with pesto, for example. There's a wholesale produce market down in the city, and sometimes I'll come back with a big bag of basil and I'll make a lot of pesto, portion it down, put it in the freezer. I make my own mascarpone cheese. Rather than buying the little pint of cream at the grocery store, I'll go to Costco and come back with the half gallon of cream, and I'll make a lot of mascarpone. It freezes very well, so that each time I need mascarpone or each time I need pesto, there it is. It's in the freezer. I don't have to make it from scratch every single time. So with a little bit of forethought and devote yourself to one day of working hard, make something in bulk and then put it away so that the next time you need it, you won't have to go through that work. It'll be ready for you.